Good evening. My name is Eddie. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I just wanted to share my own feelings and thoughts on who killed Jesus exactly and what Jesus' mission was all about. You know, what he wanted to implement, what he wanted to get rid of. And I don't know if it's just me, but it appears that people have forgotten the fact that religion killed Jesus. I know everybody says the Jews killed Jesus. Just think of Hitler, but let's actually step out of that and think about what it was that Jesus was trying to do or did, and how he met his eventual fate, which is why we celebrate his ministry till this day, 2,000 years later. And what I have come to know through studying Christ is that he came to redress religion. He didn't come to add to it. He didn't come to take away from it, but he actually came to redress. Redress, as far as I know, means to change, to correct. As you can see from the Old Testament, from Mosaic law till the time of Jesus even, people were under the law. For whatever reason, people were under the law. And Jesus's word was that, in fact, we need to reconsider our relationship with God, particularly considering the oneness of God. And it appears from scripture and from what we know that the authorities of the time, the religious authorities of the time, did not like what he was doing and saying. And so they conspired between themselves to get rid of this man who was revolutionizing the way people think about God and their relationship with God. And so today, 2016 now it is, particularly in Christianity, it's very baffling and perplexing for me to see just how religious followers of Christ can be. Even at the time, just after Jesus had gone, those followers of him, they were religious, right? They were Jews. But again, I think looking at churches today, from your Roman Catholics to your Pentecosts, followers of Christ are religious. And I believe Jesus didn't want religion in the sense that it is. You see, religion for me is a system used by man to understand God within its limits, and it's very limited, of course, because once you are religious and you think in a particular philosophy or way of thinking that your group subscribes to, it actually limits the way you see God. I was religious for a very long time. I grew up in a Roman Catholic church, spent many years there, but at the age of 18, I became a bit disillusioned with the whole thing, you know. I wanted to find out more about Christ, but not in the religious sense, not in the sense that authorities would have you know Christ. And so I've always been interested in things of religion. I read a lot. I'm not scared to read what other religions have to say about themselves and God. And the funny thing is that with each religion, you see basically the deification of a culture, you know. Any religion or religious person will tell you that their way is right and others is wrong. And I think that's the most naive way to think about things, because who knows for sure? What I know, though, from Jesus' teachings is that God is one, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. And for me, that's everything everywhere. Yeah, everything everywhere. And so for me, I look at God bigger than how religion would have you think of him. I don't see God as this existential separate entity to me that I have to go and seek through some sort of medium. God is right here, you know, right here. And I believe that's the case. I don't think we should all strive to be religious. Rather, we should strive to be non-religious, set an example for others to follow. But just thinking about things, because Jesus was a revolutionary. He was fresh. He was bringing something new to the table. And we have to remember that key point, that it was religion that killed Jesus. Had Islam, for example, existed at the time of Jesus and he was in Arabia, it would have been Islam that kills Jesus. Let's not, dwell on which particular religion killed Jesus. Rather, let us dwell on the fact that religion killed Jesus. Yet it is the very followers of Christ that deem religion to be suitable, or religion as it is anyway, in this organized institution. So I just want to share my own thoughts. I hope you found them interesting. Please leave comments. Of course, I do love to, explore and consider, talk, debate, because I believe I'm here to learn and you're here to learn, and we can learn something off each other. But I just thought I would share that the fact that religion killed Jesus, yet the religion of Jesus exists, it doesn't make sense to me. I think we have to think of a fresh way, particularly where you hear about, church membership, people attending church declining. Yeah, you've got a renaissance in a sense with, all these spiritual churches, but are we getting what we need from them? Is Jesus pleased with what we're receiving from these messengers of him? Because, again, the reason why religion killed Jesus is because they did not understand what he was doing at the time. So Jew, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, whatever, I think we need to consider Jesus and what he was teaching and consider how we follow his teachings. I'm not saying that there should be no religion and we should just all run wild and do whatever. No. Rather, let us actually go back to the drawing table and think about what Jesus stood for while he was on earth and what his legacy should be, because I don't think this is his legacy. I don't think Jesus came here to die on the cross just for us to continue being religious, He went against religious authorities, and that was ultimately how he met his fate, the crucifixion, which we derive this whole ministry from. So, yes, it was in God's will for him to die on the cross, but remember the circumstances of his death and who put him to death. Not Jews, but religious people. Thank you.